welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my everyday makeup routine for work, for school, for an interview, for your everyday life. This is literally the makeup look that I do on a daily basis. Like, this is it right here. And I wanted to concentrate this video more on the skin, on my foundation routine, something that is very long wearing for my skin, that's not going to cake up on you, that's just going to look flawless throughout the day, that's going to last a really long time. This is it right here. This is what I do on an everyday basis. So I really hope that you guys enjoy these more in-depth videos where I go step by step and kind of give you guys my tips and tricks on what I do or what I've learned along the way. Yeah, let me know if you guys like these videos. Let me know if I give this video a thumbs up. Also, if you're not yet a part of our TSQUAD family, you would like to join, don't forget to subscribe in the link below. Also, don't forget to turn on your post notification bell so YouTube alerts you every time I upload a video. Please let me know in the comment section down below, what is one of your makeup products that you use every single day, something that you gear towards on a daily, something that you just cannot live without. Let me know. Also, don't forget to follow me on Snapchat and on Instagram, because when I'm not here, I'm most likely over there, so go follow me there. And with that being said, guys, I really hope that you guys take one or two things from this video. I hope somebody learns something. The base of my face is the most important, thing in my makeup routine. I feel like for an everyday basis, if you are slaying your base, everything else is just like whatever. You know what I mean? And with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and get started with my everyday slay makeup tutorial. I look snatched. Yes. Alright guys, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with the face. To me, my base is like the most important step in my everyday makeup routine, whether it is for work, whether it's for school, whether it's for like a job interview, anything like that. I feel like if your base looks poppin', you're gonna be poppin', you know what I mean? So I'm going to be taking the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I'm going to be using this as a moisturizer and as a primer all in one. Absolutely love this stuff. I feel like it hydrates my skin really nicely. It also primes the skin. I don't know, I love it, and I'm almost hitting pan. That's how much I love it. Thank you, Jeffree Star, $60 primer. And I just like to work this into my skin, let it sink all over. And I feel like when I use this, I don't really need like a pore minimizing primer or anything like that, because I feel like this one just does everything all in one. This one does have vitamin E. It also has shea butter, however you pronounce that. It doesn't feel oily, so it's not like an oily moisturizer or anything like that. Yet I feel like it gives me a sticky base for my foundation to adhere to. Also going to be spraying my skin with a facial kind of primer slash setting spray. I love the Quick Fix by Urban Decay. I just haven't had a chance to go pick one up. This one has coconut water. It also eliminates your pores like completely. It also helps when your makeup is looking a little bit too heavy or too cakey or too powdery. This just fixes it like in an instant, but I actually ran out of that one. I don't even think I have like any left. Let me try. Okay. Alrighty, so actually I lied. I had some left, but I do have a dupe that has the exact same thing, and this one is also energizing. This one is by the brand Essence. This is the HD Hydra Primer Spray with coconut water. I'm just going to spray my skin with this one as well. Alright guys, so moving on to foundation. Foundation is like my #1 thing. I try foundations almost every single day, probably every single week. I'm always on the lookout for a good foundation, but the foundation that I'm going to be sharing with you guys in this video is a foundation that I always go back to no matter what. It is very long wearing, it is full coverage, it is a comfortable modern matte finish. It's going to last for a really long time on your skin. It minimizes my pores, it doesn't look cakey or crumbly or heavy or anything like that. I feel like this is the best foundation out there if you're oily skin or combination skin, and it is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Foundation. So I feel like the thing with this foundation is that a lot of people either love it or a lot of people either hate it. And I feel like the people that don't like it is because they're not prepping their skin accordingly. And this is a foundation that I always go back to no matter what. Today I'm going to be using the shade 2W2 Rattan, which is more on the yellow side. So this is how much foundation I'm going to take. I will always, no matter what, like I will always go in with a beauty blender. It's rare when I use a brush. I'll normally just use a brush if I'm going to be doing like a foundation review or something like that. But for the most part, I like to take my beauty blender. I just feel like it gives me the best kind of finish. I feel like it soaks up any excess product. I don't know, I feel like this is like my everyday go-to foundation routine. I love it. It lasts a really long time. And I love it. So as you can see, it's more on the yellow side. As you can see, it covers really nicely. It is giving me a full coverage. To be very honest with you guys, if I could get this video sponsored by Estee Lauder, I would, just because of how much I rave about this foundation, and it's truly a product that I deeply believe in and I love. And one day we'll get there. One day we'll work with the company, because yeah, this is like a bomb ass product, and I haven't found a foundation nearly as good as this. Well, actually I do have a drugstore kind of version to this. Let me show you guys. So this one here is the Infallible Pro Matte. If you guys are looking for a dupe, or you're just looking for something a little bit more on the affordable side, this one is just as good as my Estee Lauder Double Wear. I love this one as well. I like to go in with a very light layer. As you can see, it didn't fully cover my redness here, but it's fine. Moving on to concealer, I'm going to be taking the Born This Way concealer in the shade Vanilla. You can see I left this area of my eye pretty blank. Usually I'll go in with foundation under there as well, but I didn't do it today because I want this to be more of a professional makeup, something that can be wearable for school, work, or an interview, and you're not going to look like too much, you know what I mean? So just like an everyday kind of go-to. So even though I love full coverage, even if it's like for an everyday go-to, I still love my full coverage. So I'm just going to take some underneath my eyes, on my forehead, just to kind of brighten that area, and on my chin. And this is literally all the places where I highlight. I'm taking my beauty blender and I'm gonna go ahead and blend this out. I feel like I could have gone a shade lighter in this concealer, just because I feel like the Too Faced, this Muse Sculpting Concealer, is all the shades are more towards like the yellow side. I feel like I didn't find like a good shade match, but it's still full coverage, and I had it here, and it's a really good concealer. If you're looking for a good alternative to this one, the Makeup Revolution one is also full coverage, and I love the finish that it gives me. Alright guys, so moving on, I'm taking the Makeup Revolution foundation in the shade F12. This foundation is very creamy. It is light to medium coverage. I actually ran out already. Well, it actually broke. I don't have none left, but I'm going to use a brush to kind of distribute the product. I fell in love with this foundation to contour with, to kind of give some warmth to my skin. I fell in love with the shade. I feel like it's not too cool, it's not too warm either. I like to drag this on the tip of my nose, and I'm also going to do a little bit of contouring. I'm going to take my beauty blender and kind of blend this out. Like I said, for my everyday routine, my face needs to be on point. It needs to be nice and structured, well defined. You can see it blends out pretty fast and pretty seamlessly, yet it gives you some color, some warmth to the skin. And this is literally what I do every single day for work. I love the outcome. I love how my face looks snatched, you know? so moving on to set everything, I'm going to be taking the Coty Airspun Loose Face Powder in the shade Translucent. I love this powder because when you're going to school, when you're going to work, you want everything to last a really long time, obviously. And I want everything to look airbrushed, so that's why I like going in with this powder, which I'm actually almost out. So I just like to set my entire face, but this is the exact same way that I do it. First, I like to set my chin. Then I like to set my under eye. And then I like to set my forehead, which is basically like the T-zone area where I get the most oiliness. I'll set like this. I'll just press the powder into my skin and take whatever is left and pat it all over my entire face. And I find that when I do set my brows with the powder and then I go in with the pomade, I feel like it gives them a much more like long-lasting feel to them. Like they get a grip and they just last longer, in my opinion. But with that same powder that I set those areas, I just take it and I lightly set my entire face with it. Just go back in with some powder and I just like to stamp my nose, but my nose is where I get the most oily from, so I just like to stamp it. Most of the time I'll eat this powder at times. So I just like to stamp that area and I just like to leave the powder right there. Let it sit there for a minute, let it bake. Moving on, I'm going to go ahead and bronze my skin, and for this I'm going to be using my favorite powder. This one is by Makeup Revolution. To be very honest with you guys, Makeup Revolution has amazing products, like hello. They just recently launched the Conceal and Define Foundation. I do have a review video on this in case you guys want to check that out. But I'm just taking this powder and I'm just going to bronze the perimeters of my face, on my temples, on my forehead. So smooth. It's such like a smooth, creamy powder. As you guys can see, it like, I don't know, I love this powder. Love it. So I'm basically just setting everywhere where I put the cream contour. I'm also taking this Trio by Physicians Formula, and I'm actually going to take the darkest shade in the palette. It's very similar to the Morphe Debutante. I just find that this one is a little bit more harsher to blend out. I still love it, I still use it, but recently I've loved this one. And this one I just like to concentrate this far back into my hairline, close to my ear, just to kind of give it a much more chiseled look. And then I'll go back in and blend everything out. You can see it gives it a much more look, and that's the look I like to go for. I know that a lot of people don't like their contour to be too intense. I like my face to look really structured, just because I don't wear any like eye makeup or anything like that. So there you go. I'm just going to swipe away the bakage from my nose. And I'm only going to take a little bit of this powder by Makeup Revolution, and I'm just going to lightly contour the nose, just so I can bring some color back into it. I just like to go over everything with my beauty blender, just to make sure nothing looks harsh. And I don't know if you guys are able to tell, but my face is starting to look very smooth. I am living. I was never a blush person, but until we find a new one, I'm gonna go in to the Butter Blush in the shade Plum Rose. I love the whole mauve look this gives me. As you guys can see, it's just like a flash of color. I live for it. Like, here's the one with the blush, and then you turn around and there's no blush, you know? To apply some on my nose. Taking my beauty blender, just stamping over everything. I feel like going back into the beauty blender is key to like the flawless base. Now I'm going back into my translucent powder, and I'm just going to clean out, carve out, whatever you want to call this, chisel it. I'm just doing this here. Now, moving on to the next couple steps of my face, I actually do my brows now, but I'm just going to do that real quickly off camera, and I'll see you guys in a second. Alright guys, so now I feel like sometimes I have like really good brow days, and sometimes they're just not cooperating. Today's one of those days they're not cooperating, but anyways, I'm just going to remove this powder. So now I like to set everything in place, and I like to use the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. One of you guys actually messaged me about this. So this is a radiant setting spray, so if you have oily skin, I don't think you'll like this. I like this because, like I said, I give myself a pretty matte base, and then I like to go in with something more radiant. I obviously don't drench myself in it, but I do like to kind of sandwich everything together, and I feel like it works just fine for me. So I'm just going to take this. That's all I do, like literally that's all I do. That is it. Like I said, if I did have some quick fix, I would go in with quick fix, but I don't. I really wanted to buy one for this video, but I didn't have time to go. So that's that. For highlighter, I'm going to be taking this one by Morphe. This one is in the shade Extra. I like to apply it really far back. I like to wing it right here. Obviously, if you have textured skin, I don't recommend bringing it further than right here, like on this side, because you're just going to emphasize your texture more. So if you do have a textured skin or super oily skin, I would just recommend putting it right here, like half of my eye back, and then wing it like this. Once I am done applying the highlighter, I like to go in with the butt of my beauty blender and kind of press it into the skin, kind of blend the product in there. I feel like that just gave me like a glow from within. Like, you can definitely see it, you know, coming from within. It doesn't look chunky, it doesn't look glittery, and that's exactly what I like. So I like to keep my eyes at its bare minimum, just like no shadow at all. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to show you guys what I would normally do if I were to do some type of shadow on like an everyday basis. So first things first, I would normally go into this shade. This is Creme Brulee by Makeup Geek. I love this shadow. I am almost like hitting pan on it. I feel like it's the perfect crease color for like any skin tone. I just like to do a wash of color on the lid, just like this. Also going to buff that same shadow on my lower lash line. So up next, I'm going to take Cocoa Bear, also by Makeup Geek. I find that this is like the perfect fall kind of color. It's like a very terracotta kind of brown. I'm going to take that in the exact same brush, and I'm just going to pop that on the outer part of my eye very lightly. And then flicker it inwards. This is just to give it some warmth to the crease, give it some dimension. As you guys can see now, my eye looks a little bit more awake, a little bit more open. And this is normally what I would do on a daily basis. These are my go-to shadows. I actually keep them in a little Z palette here. And these are like my go-to everyday kind of tones. Moving on, I'm also going to be taking Cocoa Bear, and with my M411 by Morphe, this is my favorite brush for the lower lash line. I'm just going to buff that real quick on my lower lash line. Looking up into my mirror. Just going to flicker this. I love this brush because it is very, very stiff, yet it is extremely pointy. It's like a dome, but it's very, very pointy, and it's more precise for the lower lash line. I just feel like I get a better grip down there, and I just feel like it blends shadows very, very seamlessly, as you guys can see. Up next, I'm just going to take a flat definer brush. I'm just taking any brown shade in the palette. This is the one I have close to me. And I'm going to stamp this on my lower lash line, kind of like creating an eyeliner effect, if you will. I'm going to grab it. And then I'm going to go back into my M411 and I'm just going to buff that out. This is literally everything I do. If I wasn't wearing any eyelash extensions, I would just go in with my favorite mascara, which is the Wonder Beauty Unleashed Volume and Curl Mascara. This has been like my go-to lately. But I actually cannot wear mascara with my with my extensions, so I'm not going to do that. Go ahead and take this LA Girl Glide Pencil in the shade Champagne. I'm just going to take this and stamp it on my waterline. I'm just going to take my Wonder Beauty mascara. First, I'm going to take the shade Leo, which is like the darker kind of terracotta nude. I love the Jeffree Star liquid lip formula because it lasts such a long time, and I feel like they're just the perfect type of matte. Like they're matte, like they dry down matte completely. But they're just very, very comfortable on the lips, so. Alright guys, and the reason why I like to go in with a matte liquid lipstick is because it's just going to last a really long time. Like I said, I'm not a gloss person at all whatsoever, but by all means, if you're a gloss person, then you know, you can just go ahead and wear gloss. I feel like this just looks more presentable. It looks more like not elegant, but like put together, you know what I mean? This is literally the routine that I would do for work, for school, for an interview. I feel like it looks well put together. I went ahead and put some hoop earrings because this is literally the hairstyle that I gear towards almost every single day. Let me know what are some of your go-to makeup products. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like more educational videos, more in-depth tutorials where I explain things, you know, like one by one and kind of go over everything as I did in this video. I don't know if that's something that you guys would want to see. I wanted to try something a little bit more different. That's why I explained everything step by step, if you know what I mean. I hope you guys got some tips and tricks. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video very soon. Bye, guys.